In late December 2016, for Christmas and New Year, 71-year-old Bernard Gore, a retired barber from Tasmania, was visiting his daughter in Sydney with his wife of 50 years, Angela, for what should have been a lovely few weeks away, spending quality time with family and friends. But the dream vacation soon turned into a nightmare, as Bernard suddenly disappeared inside one of the busiest shopping malls in Australia and wasn't found until 3 weeks later. In the weeks leading up to his disappearance, Mr. Gore was staying with his daughter on Ocean Street in Woollahra, Sydney. Sydney is the capital of the Australian state of New South Wales, and despite being one of the world's most costly cities, it consistently rates among the top 10 most livable cities in the world. A few weeks into their vacation, on January the 6th, 2017, Bernard told his relatives that he wanted to go shopping at Bondi Junction, Westfield, before meeting up with his wife and daughter an hour later. Westfield Bondi Junction is a big, affluent shopping area located in the Bondi Junction suburb of Sydney and is one of Australia's most popular malls. Westfield Bondi Junction is huge and has 7 floors of shops, restaurants, bars and more. More than an hour passed, but Bernard never showed up. At the time, Mr. Gore had gone missing before and was taking medication for hypertension and mild cognitive impairment. He had, however, made the trip between his house and the shopping centre several times before and was described as his son as being strong and resilient, the opposite of a frail old man. So what happened to Bernard? Following his disappearance, Angela and their daughter reported Bernard missing and the search began. During the search, security officers and police only inspected CCTV from select pedestrian entrances to the shopping centre in which they never saw him in, leading them to believe that he never entered the mall. His family spent 3 weeks searching for him, with no answer until exactly 3 weeks later after Bernard had went missing. On the 27th of January, at around 8 AM, the badly decomposed body of Bernard Gore was found by a maintenance worker in the stairwell of the shopping complex. In the shopping centre, there are 6 to 8 miles of fire stairs, which were only checked once a month. As the police didn't check CCTV from inside the mall, they missed that at 12:48 PM, CCTV footage showed him walking into Westfield, up to level 4 and through the door L407 at 12:50 PM. The door he walked through could not be opened from the inside, so after the door closed behind him, he was trapped, or so he thought. Little did Bernard know, there was an exit down some stairs and through a corridor, but the stairwell was like a labyrinth or a maze, and would have been difficult to find your way out of unless you knew it well. The investigators described it as somewhat of a maze with a great many set of fire doors. As Mr. Gore sat locked inside, thousands upon thousands of people passed by him every day. Bernard sat in a chair waiting for someone to rescue him, but it never happened. After he died, he fell off the chair and was found slumped on the floor. According to forensics, he died 1 or 2 weeks before his body was discovered, implying he was alive for a week or so before he died.
The state's deputy coroner has slammed search procedures that failed to find an elderly dementia patient lost in a Sydney shopping centre. Bernard Gore died trapped in a stairwell at Bondi Junction, Westfield, his body not discovered for 3 weeks.
The family of Bernard Gore already knew, but today it was official. He died because those tasked with finding him bungled the job.
Inadequate search techniques and weak communication impeded efforts to locate Bernard, according to the coroner. He stated, "The distress that Bernard must have felt after 12:50 PM on the 6th of January 2017 and the uncertainty and anguish that his family must have felt in them hours, days and weeks that followed is unimaginable. It is hoped that the shortcomings that have been identified as part of this process, the lessons that have been learned by individuals and organisations involved in the attempt to locate Bernard, and the recommendations that have been made following this inquest will mitigate the possibility of another family having to endure such a traumatic event. Since Mr. Gore's disappearance, improvements have been made in the way police and shopping centre security teams respond to missing person instances. The coroner went on to state that the available evidence did not allow for a finding to be made as to the cause of Mr. Gore's death, but that the psychological environment and the stresses that Bernard would have experienced as a result of being within the stairwell were possibly significant contributors to his death. When these matters are taken into account, together with certain identified shortcomings and inadequacies associated with the efforts to locate him, it cannot be said that Bernard's death was entirely due to natural causes. He said, therefore, it is more appropriate to conclude that the manner of Bernard's death was a result of misadventure.